So one of the best things about stunt sabers is that there's very little to learn, so it makes for easy reviews. And so here I have my Jaro Tapal saber. It is basically a variant of the Jedi Fallen Order ethos of saber. Now, to be sure, many companies are producing versions of this saber, but I want to kind of get something inexpensive, and I'm starting to really kind of get into sabers that are sort of made by small time artisans, people with small Etsy stores, or maybe it's just like a one person operation. I'm kind of growing fatigued with the heavy hitters, the big players. Just I don't know. I want something a little bit more unique, a little bit more one off, and I'm the only one that owns this particular version of the saber, and they probably won't do another. So to me, that I find appealing. So far, the customer service that I received from this seller on the Etsy store has been phenomenal. He shipped it the same day. As I mentioned before, the post office kind of fumbled the ball a little bit, but I received my saber today, and it was full of all kinds of accessories and goodies. And overall, I'm 100% satisfied. So, first thing is, I have this oversized Allen key, hex key, and you'll see why it's oversized very shortly. The other thing is, he sent me, let's see, what's the best way to do this? I'm so uncoordinated. A full set of extra blade retention screws and whatnot. You got a full size screw and a bit of a shorter screw, and a full size screw and a shorter screw. So you have options. Oh, and also there was a lithium ion 18650 battery and a charger, a wall charger. So that's all well and good and wonderful. So I also received a couple cards and the instructions. So everything is good to go. So as far as the saber goes, it's kind of simplicity in and of itself, but not so much. I mean, obviously a lot of work and care went into the saber. It's a bit weathered in certain regards, has some acid etching, and I'll just give you the door. So the end here is just a kind of a conglomeration of bits and baubles, gears and screws and whatnot. It's a nice solid piece. And the way the saber is designed is you just grab onto this and you pull it out. I'm not going to do that because, one-handed. And it goes about this deep in, and this end is kind of a rubbery material. So it's held on by friction, which is, I quite like that. And so it is in there very securely, but at the same time, it's easy to remove. And there is a chassis in here that resides about there. And the chassis holds the lithium-ion 18650 battery, and he put a little tassel on the end with a bead, so you can actually grab onto that and pull it out, and it pulls out quite easily. And I was able to pop my battery in there and reinsert this end piece, and I'm good to go. And as you can hear, it is in there very securely and is not moving about like it would on other brands of sabers. So we have kind of this kind of a canvasy kind of material that wraps the handle, and that's glued into place. And I can tell it's glued into place because there's this little bit that kind of sticks off, and that's quite solid. And you can see, if you look in here, you can see in the back, the hilt does continue. It's rounded in here, so that will support this material and make it quite solid. So very nice indeed. So it's pretty simple. It's a little bit weathered. It's got some stains and whatnot. Not a big deal. This is all sealed up. It's not going to come undone. And this edge is rather smooth, so it's not going to injure me in any way, shape, or form. What I really like this switch. It's not a momentary switch. It's a kind of a clickety clack kind of switch. And of course, you've got your acid etch bit here, which is actually it is tactile and recessed. And I'm assuming this is a LED retention screw. The saber kind of creates this wonderful choke point right here. It's a natural choke point, and it is really comfortable and really balanced. I did do some spins, and I did, swing it around quite a bit before I bothered to, attempt to do the review. And this is actually really comfortable. None of this is sharp. It's all rounded, and there's no burrs or anything of any sort to injure myself. So well done. Kudos. Now, as far as these bits on the emitter, they seem to be held on by these screws right here, which are the same gauge as that hex key. So there's one on either side, as is standard with the aesthetic of this type of saber. You have one of the greebles, one of these blade retention screws, which I actually hand tighten because I don't have a hex key that matches that particular gauge. But the hex key that was provided was sufficient for that screw and these two screws. So you got 4 blade retention screws holding this blade on, and the depth goes to about there. So that is firmly and securely on there, and I do appreciate that. You got more acid etching in here, and that's actually like grooved. So I imagine that goes all the way around. So this is tactile. You can actually feel that. And this has a blue LED. I actually went with a 32-inch Custom Saber Shop show blade for this go-around, because I'm starting to get into the shorter blades, and I feel that for this particular saber design, that kind of works better, and the balance is more or less perfect. I mean, it's a little bit front heavy, but from this choke point, it's acceptable. So let's turn this on. So we have a nice blue Luxian LED. It's plenty bright. It's not insanely bright, but it is sufficient, and it is gratifying, and I'm quite happy with it. What more can you ask? I like the way the light plays in these slats that are made by this emitter, and I can pretty much swing this around with abandon without damaging too much. Obviously, this is just a stunt saber, so you don't have to worry about well, not worry about, but sound is an issue. I would say that this is probably going to be a very decent dueling saber. I don't anticipate this thing falling apart. It's pretty solidly made. When you strike something, the blade does tend to reverberate inside the hilt, but it's in there solidly. So yeah, solid dueling saber. This is going to be one of quite a few. Like I said on my reveal video, there's a couple different sabers that they offer that I'm planning on picking up, because they have quite a variety of different designs, and some of them I don't really care for. That's I don't want to get into it, but for reasons that I don't know, remind me of issues that I've had with my cars in the past. But these guys did. This is a very, very solid saber, and I am 100% satisfied with it. There's really not much more for me to say, other than the fact that if you were to venture to a Custom Diversions website, you're definitely going to find something appealing to you. Like I said, they have a bit of variety. They do have 2 other versions of this saber, so I recommend checking those out. If you want to get a Fallen Order saber, go visit those guys, because I really love this thing. I've had the saber for about an hour, And I have to say that I fell in love with it immediately. It's simple. I mean, it can't really hold a candle to what Saberforge offers, or even Ultra Sabers. Their variations are gorgeous. I mean, they're beautiful. But if you want an inexpensive saber that sort of feels like somebody maybe just like a Jedi threw it together under duress, and he had limited materials to work with, but produced something quality. This has the weight, the feel, the balance, the comfort. It's made solid. It's aesthetically appealing in certain ways that that appeal to me. I like something a little bit more rough and tumble and earthy, and kind of just, I don't know. It really appeals to me. It's not quite as refined as, like I said, what the big boys produce, but for what it is, you can't go wrong. And it wasn't very expensive. I think he's currently having a sale, so might be worth it. Just don't buy the ones that I want. I love what they did here. I just really find that just appealing in ways. I'm like gushing. I like this little hole there. I like the brass. Yeah. I give it 10 out of 10. 5 stars. And yeah, so I guess that pretty much wraps it up. As far as reviews go, this is a rather short one. I don't have anything to compare it with because I don't have any other Fallen Order sabers. I don't really plan on buying one, not immediately anyway. I imagine a few years, things will start showing up on eBay or whatever. That's kind of my go-to resource. So I'm pretty pleased with that. As far as other sabers that I'm expecting, I have many, many more sabers. I just recently, yesterday, I purchased a Saberforge Bane Mark 1. And it looks like it's an older hero model, possibly. And I was talking to Sidious briefly, and he's convinced it's not really a champion edition. I'm not too sure what it is, but it uses motion activation to change the fonts, and I hadn't seen that before, not from a Saberforge saber. So I'm not too sure if it maybe has a custom install, but the person that owned it before me put some alien inspired font onto it, which is appropriate because that particular saber in the weathered format looks like something that H.R. Geiger might have designed himself. It definitely has that xenomorph kind of alien vibe to it, which is why I'm thinking I might watch either Alien or Aliens. Those are really the only 2 alien movies I like. And yeah, on that bombshell, I really, really love this switch. That is a really well-designed switch, and I love any switch that's recessed like that. So, anyway, give you one last look. The tour that I like to do, that's part of my my shtick. There aren't too many reviews of sabers by Custom Diversions on YouTube. However, they are there if you know where to look. And there you have it. So I will bid everyone adieu. Hope you have a wonderful evening. I hope you like this review. And if you're so inclined as to subscribe or comment, ask me any question you like. I may not know the answer. I may give you a false answer in my ignorance, but I always try, and it is what it is. We're all human, right? At any rate, have a wonderful rest of the evening. Bye.